So this is WatchMojo top 20 normal looking pictures with disturbing backstories. Ooh.
Picture perfect? Think again. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 normal looking pictures with disturbing backstories. For this list, we're looking at photos that seem perfectly innocent.
Oh, that's the BTK killer. That's the BTK killer right there, ladies and gentlemen. I can spot that mustache any day. That's old Dennis Rader. I think his name is Dennis Nader? Rader?
Until you do some further reading. Number 20. Tragedy by the Sea. At first glance, this photo might appear romantic. After all, it shows a couple on a windswept beach. But look closer, and the woman's distraught expression says it all. Right before photographer John L. Gaunt took the shot, the couple's 19-month-old son had been happily playing in their yard. But he wandered off and disappeared into the waves. The couple is standing on the shore.
Dude, if I had a 19-month-old son and he jumped into the water and went full Kelly Slater, and a photographer was down there and took a picture instead of helping, I would be pissed.
Realizing their son is gone. This photo actually won the 1955 Pulitzer Prize. And given the backstory,
I'd be so pissed off if I was this couple and I found out this photographer won the Pulitzer Prize for taking a picture of me on the beach when my son is floating out to sea. Can you imagine? Like these two coming off the beach, like, man, scared, crying, whatever, and they see a guy snapping photos. Hey, man, what the hell are you doing? Oh, dude, I just figured I'd capture the moment. My son is drowning. Yeah, dude, Pulitzer Prize gang gang.
It's a haunting shot of sudden and unexpected tragedy. Number 19, the Space Shuttle Challenger crew. It's unclear where the astronauts in this photo are going, but they appear excited and optimistic about whatever's on the horizon. Doing some digging, you'll find that the crew was walking out of the operations and checkout building. They were headed for pad 39B, where the Space Shuttle Challenger was about to take off.
So this is their last photo before it exploded. Just got this dope shot. Sorry about the kid. LMAO, yeah. Just got this Pulitzer Prize. Sorry about the kid. Lols.
The STS-51L mission was notable for its diverse crew, although that's sadly not what it's best remembered for.
Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
Only a minute after launching, the space shuttle exploded.
73.5 seconds. Challenger's engine shut down. The last data from Challenger.
Yo, this will look dope. This will look lit on Instagram. Please help me. My kid is drowning. No, dude, I'm about to get hella likes.
Is radio to Earth.
While nobody knows precisely when each crew member died, nobody survived after the spacecraft hit the ocean.
No one knows when the crew members died. I think I know. Maybe during this time period right here. I think this time when Vegeta hit Final Flash on the rocket ship, I think this is probably when most of them died. What the hell? What the hell kind of statement was that? We don't know when they all died? Maybe here?
Engine shut down. The last data from Challenger is radio to Earth.
While nobody knows precisely when each crew member died, nobody survived after the spacecraft hit the ocean. This photo was taken on January 28, 1986, mere hours before the crew unknowingly embarked on what would be their final mission. Number 18, Christopher McCandless. With a grin across his face, the man in this picture appears to be waving hello, but he was actually waving goodbye. This bearded explorer is Christopher McCandless, the subject of the 2007 biopic Into the Wild.
Is there anybody here?
Leaving his old life behind, McCandless decided to fend for himself in Mother Nature's backyard, eventually seeking refuge in an abandoned Fairbanks Bus 142. In August 1992, the 24-year-old McCandless died at Stampede Trail, Alaska, most likely due to starvation.
Ooh.
Based on the last self-photo he took, it's evident McCandless knew his days were numbered. While it's hard to make out, the paper
Dude, that's tough. That's tough, man. Like, I get the idea of wanting to go live on your own, but he's just starving. He just starves to death on a bus. And then he takes this picture. It's like, dude, go get some food. Go get some food, brev. Don't take this photo. Go get some damn food. Yeah, drive that bus to your local Wendy's. Bro.
While it's hard to make out, the paper McCandless is holding is his farewell message, reading, quote, "I have had a happy life and thank the Lord. Goodbye, and may God bless all." Number 17,
Damn.
lightning strike. While the numbers vary, the odds of getting struck by lightning are relatively slim. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take lightning safety seriously, though. This photo,
My uncle got struck by lightning. Didn't even go to the doctor.
Michael McQuilkin and his 12-year-old brother Sean, has served as a cautionary tale ever since it was taken in 1975. Posing together at Morro Rock, the brothers were goofing around with their hair standing on end. Their static hair and those storm clouds in the background were more foreboding than either realized, as lightning struck them shortly after their sister took the picture. Another hiker died, and while the brothers survived, Sean was left with third-degree burns and took his own life in 1989.
Oh, damn.
Michael continues to spread awareness about the dangers and warning signs of lightning.
Look, spreading awareness of like the dangers of lightning, like who needs that awareness? Who needs to be like, hey, look, here's my 2-hour-long TED talk on why getting struck by lightning is bad. It's like, oh, you know, that's like a 30-second thing.
Number 16, another day in Omagh. Looking at this photo, the first thing you're inclined to notice is the man standing in the street and the child on his shoulders. Meanwhile, the red car parked on the side of the road appears inconsequential. What you might not realize is that the photo was taken in Omagh, a Northern Ireland town, on August 15, 1998, not long before this car blew up. The Real Irish Republican Army, a splinter group, executed this car bombing 5 days after the Good Friday Agreement was signed.
500 pounds of explosives detonated inside a red Vauxhall Cavalier parked on the roadside, pulverizing surrounding buildings.
Although the Real IRA claimed that innocent civilians were not their target, 29 lives were lost in the bombing, and roughly 220 were injured.
It was the biggest loss of life in a single attack in Northern Ireland.
While the man and child thankfully survived the bombing, the person behind the camera did not.
Man, that is crazy. So this car is the bomb. How insane is that? Person took the camera, died, or took the picture, died. These two survive. How crazy is that? That this car right here, all these people just walking around, this car is rigged with explosives. That's wild.
Number 15, David A. Johnston. While not a household name, David A. Johnston was a revered volcanologist who, along with the United States Geological Survey, helped save thousands of people through his on-site work. Tragically, Johnston lost his own life in the process. All seems well in this photo, as Johnston sits in a chair outside looking into the camera. Little did anyone know that within the next 13 hours, Johnston would perish in the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens. The eruption, preceded by seismic activity, was first reported by Johnston, who radioed the message, quote, "Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it." Within the next seconds, the signal went out and Johnston was never heard from again.
So I guess I had the realization right away that this was some kind of a tragedy. And on the one hand, it was this huge, exciting, and interesting magmatic eruption, and on the other hand, I was pretty certain that something terrible had happened to Dave.
While his remains were never found, it's believed that Johnston died at Coldwater 2, a post that wasn't as safe as anticipated.
I think one of the things to put in perspective is that 234 square miles of that area of Washington were devastated by that blast. So 5.7 miles, that was within that devastation zone, the blast zone.
Dude, Ray Shadow Legends, man, how much y'all paying for ads?
Mark Jackson's basketball card. For die-hard sports fans, you'll recognize the player on this basketball card as Mark Jackson, who started his NBA career with the New York Knicks and later coached the Golden State Warriors. At first glance, this card would likely blend in with the rest of your collection. Take a closer look at the lower left-hand corner, though. You see those two young fans sitting in the front row?
Oh, those are the Rodrigo brothers or whatever. I remember this. Those are the two brothers who killed their parents, I think, or whatever they're called, the Menendez brothers.
They are Lyle and Eric Menendez, two wealthy brothers who took
I'm telling y'all, no one is smarter than me.
the lives of their allegedly abusive parents on August 20th, 1989.
The brothers, who were thought to have it all, at times acting out, even going as far as robbing houses until they were caught.
The brothers weren't arrested for these crimes until March 8th, 1990, and in between that time, they spent an extravagant amount of money.
So at the time, nothing seemed suspicious to you about them?
No. But soon detectives shifted their focus.
The brothers were out there spending money like it was water.
It appears that some of that fortune went towards Knicks tickets before their apprehension. Number 13, Rodney Alcala. If we asked you to name the man in this photo, you might take a wild guess and say Christoph Waltz if he had Weird Al's hairdresser. In reality, he's Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. How did he get such an outlandish nickname? Because Alcala appeared on the dating game prior to his 1979 arrest.
The woman who won a date with him ended up backing out, saying she found him creepy.
Smart move.
Come on, over here.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Her intuition probably saved her life. Others would not be so fortunate.
While his total victim count could be as high as 130, Alcala was trialed for 5 murders in 2010, almost 31 years after his apprehension. Alcala represented himself in court, as seen in this picture. Even more bizarre, Alcala was his own defense witness, asking himself, quote, "Rodney, would you please tell us about your hair?" Alcala ultimately received the death sentence, although he's still awaiting execution to this date.
Not a great job as your own defense lawyer if you get yourself the death penalty.
Number 12, Ayano Tokumasu. Remember that scene in Superman 2 where a little boy falls over the rail at Niagara Falls?
Oh my God!
Well, that sort of thing happens more often than you think, but Superman sadly isn't around to save the day. On the surface, there doesn't seem to be anything particularly special about this photo, which sees several people gathering at Niagara River. The woman in the red sweater is Ayano Tokumasu, an exchange student from Japan. If you think standing on that pillar seems kind of dangerous, you'd be right. Not long after the photo was taken, she lost her balance and fell over the edge, ultimately going down Horseshoe Falls.
Oh, tough scenes. Dude, that railings like that, like if I stand over a railing, even if I have like a balcony on my hotel room, I never like peer over the railing, you know what I mean? It just freaks me out.
Tokumasu was swept from the river's Canadian side to its American side, where her lifeless body was discovered.
People just go too far. You know, I don't blame anything on the park. I just think people wanted to get that extra edge, get closer. And unfortunately, things happen.
Number 11, the SS Grongkong. The SS
Grongkong
may not be a household name like the Titanic, but it's forever linked to the Texas City disaster, and this photo captured the vessel just before tragedy spiraled out of control. On April 16, 1947, smoke was seen emitting from the docked ship in Texas City. A fire had broken out with about 2,200 tons of ammonium nitrate aboard.
Damn.
This naturally amounted to an explosion, but that was only the beginning.
Texas City, Texas was joined by a tremendous blast.
The blast ignited a subsequent explosion on the High Flyer, another ship carrying ammonium nitrate.
Oh my
And about 8:15, they housed me to come aboard the ship, that they had a fire down in the hold. Went aboard the ship, and we seen smoke coming up from between the cargo and the side of the ship.
The ensuing chain reaction resulted
This was similar to the one in Europe? Oh, the one in Beirut?
in a loss of 581 lives, with only one survivor from the local fire department.
Dude, look at all that smoke.
Number 10, Apollo 1 pool party. The space pod in the swimming pool is only the second weirdest thing about this photo. Like, how often do you see astronauts lounging on water floats while wearing their spacesuits? Surely there must be a humorous story behind such a surreal image. Unfortunately, it's quite the opposite. The suited up astronauts in this photo were Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger B. Chaffee. They were training for the Apollo 1 mission, which was planned to commence in February of 1967. On January 27th of that year, a fire broke out in the cabin during a pre-launch test. Unable to open the hatch door, the 3 men perished in the fire, which was caused by electrical problems. Thus, the mission ended before it even started.
Damn. I mean, it's hard to even imagine something more terrifying than that. You know, it's like stuck in that cabin with flames all around you.
The pad where Grissom, Chaffee, and White died is now a memorial. Lieutenant Colonel Virgil Grissom, U.S. Air Force, and Lieutenant Commander Roger Chaffee are buried at the Arlington National Cemetery. Lieutenant Colonel Edward White is interred at West Point Military Academy.
Number 9, bear photographer. There are countless photos of bears out there, and this one doesn't look much different from all the rest.
Oh, he must have got the yappa from that bear.
Since the picture was taken from a distance and the bear isn't charging, the photographer seemingly isn't in any immediate danger. After Darsh Patel snapped this pic using his phone, however, the bear started to follow him and his friends. The group split up as the bear began to close in on them, ultimately pursuing...
Terrible decision. Bear is closing in on you. Do not split up with your friends. Stay as one.
Patel. His phone was eventually found with animal teeth marks, while Patel's body was discovered at a nearby ravine.
A scenic Sunday afternoon ended in horror when 5 hikers crossed paths with a 300-pound black bear that looked similar to this one.
The bear was still hanging around the 22-year-old's fatally mauled remains, and the authorities took the wild animal out.
We believe this bear was about 4 years old.
Dude, that's something else. Like, you talk about terrifying, just like in the woods camping and you get stalked by a bear and get mauled to death. Oof.
It was not a tagged bear, meaning it had no history with the DEP. There was no research done on this bear that we know of. It had no previous incidents of aggression that would have called it to our attention.
This photo op came at a steep price for
I ain't ever going close to bears. No, thank you. Not when their paws are the size of my head. Yeah.
Number 8. What are you smiling at? The 2 men being escorted in this photo are Richard Hickok and Perry Edward Smith. Although handcuffs are visible, the jolly smile on Smith's face suggests they're only in for a mild offense. This couldn't be further from the truth. Ever hear of a book called In Cold Blood? Well, Hickok and Smith provided the basis for this best-selling true crime novel. The 2 criminals were convicted for the Clutter family murders and sentenced to death.
Richard Hickok, the first to be executed, decided by a coin toss. Perry Smith's was second.
In this chilling photo, Hickok and Smith can be seen leaving the courtroom right after receiving the guilty verdict. Much can be said about Smith's haunting grin. If there's one takeaway from the image, though, it's that this crime was indeed cold-blooded.
Yeah, it's that there was no remorse at all.
Number 7, BTK at graduation.
Yep, there he is, BTK. Man, I'll tell you what, you ever want to go down a rabbit hole? Go watch BTK's confession. BTK gives like a full confession at his trial and just explains all the murders. Very, 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 very creepy.
Dennis Rader was his church's president, a Cub Scout leader, and an all-around pillar of the community. As you can tell from this photo, Rader was also a family man who seemed quite proud of his daughter Carrie at her college graduation. This would all be overshadowed, though, when Rader was exposed as the BTK Strangler, the letters standing for bind, torture, kill as his preferred MO.
When BTK came forward, everybody's life changed. He would see a woman walking and he would say, "She's next."
Over the course of multiple decades.
Not a great photo. Only reason he got caught was because he used a floppy disk. He was sending the police letter. I think he went like 10 years or something doing his murders. And then he sent the police a floppy disk, like taunting them. And the floppy disk wasn't like formatted right or something. And so it had where it last was. And it was last at the computer at his church. And so when the police went back and was like, hey, who uses this computer, whatever, he was one of the people who used it, and that's how he got caught.
This seemingly ordinary guy took 10 lives. In 2005, the authorities used Carrie Rader's DNA to link her father to a crime scene, culminating in his arrest.
Carrie had graduated from K-State, and while there, had tests at health services, both a pap smear and a biopsy. Investigators traveled to Manhattan with a subpoena in hand for those smears. Her DNA, a direct match to DNA left at BTK crime scenes.
Rader pled guilty and was subsequently sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences. About 14 years after her father was captured, Carrie released a book entitled A Serial Killer's Daughter, My Story of Faith, Love, and Overcoming.
It's been like a cathartic process of having to go do really hard work.
Dude, I can't even imagine how crazy that would be. Like, think about how insane that would be if your dad was like one of the most notorious serial killers of all time. It's wild. I mean, I can't even imagine what she's what her battle with that is.
And find those memories again of my father that I had lost, and try to separate my dad back out as my dad and remove the BTK from it.
Number 6, Dutch Girls of Panama. Scrolling through Instagram, chances are you'll stumble across a number of pleasant photos like these.
Not my Instagram.
Backdrop with green hills and blue skies, 22-year-old Lisana Froon appears to have a lovely day ahead of her. Froon was on vacation with 21-year-old Chris Kramers, a fellow Dutch student seen in another photo at the same spot. The two set out for a hike in Panama on April 1st, 2014 when these pics were taken. This was also the day that Froon and Kramers disappeared, resulting in a grueling search. 10 weeks down the line, Froon's backpack was uncovered with her camera inside. Froon and Kramers' remains were eventually found scattered across the jungle, with the cause of death still up for debate.
I wonder what happened. Oh, this is I think this is Jodi Arias. I think this is the Jodi Arias pictures.
Alexander. Travis Alexander was 30 when this photo was taken of him in the shower. The person behind the camera was Jodi Arias, with whom Alexander had a shaky romantic.
This is a terrifying photo. I mean, this is a terrifying photo. This is not a good look. I mean, you know, water's just running in his eyes. Jodi Arias is about to murder him. He's in the shower, like not a place you want to be photographed. This is terrifying. How is this not number one?
Relationship. This was the last photo ever taken of Alexander alive, as his friends found his body in the shower a few days later.
Dude, I tell you what, like, if this is the last photo they find of me, oh man, like his eyes are just full of terror. Oh man.
Later, it was only a matter of time until the authorities connected the dots and arrested his ex-girlfriend. Arias constantly changed her story, originally pleading innocence, later claiming that 2 intruders broke in, and ultimately testifying that she killed Alexander in self-defense.
Dude, I think she stabbed him like 50 times or something. I'm pretty sure she really stabbed him.
The simple answer is that he attacked me, and I defended myself.
In the end, Arias was deemed guilty of first-degree murder, receiving a life sentence.
We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn, in the above entitled action, upon our oaths, do find the defendant as to count 1, first-degree murder, guilty.
Alexander appears off guard in this photo. He clearly
off guard
had no idea what was coming. Number 4, the eternal shadow. At face value, this.
Oh, this is Is this Hiroshima? I think this might be like Hiroshima or something like that. That's my guess.
Dark outline of a person could be chalked up to some harmless graffiti. While we wish.
Oh no! I think it might be Chernobyl. It might be Chernobyl. I'm gonna change it to Chernobyl.
Case. This shadowy figure resulted from the atomic bombings of Hiroshima
and
Nagasaki.
Damn
In August of 1945,
Damn
the U.S. dropped 2 nuclear weapons, Little Boy and Fat Man, that resulted in anywhere between 129 and 226,000 deaths.
Delete the VOD. Delete this VOD.
8:14, it was a sunny day. At 8:15, it was a hellscape.
Whoever this person was, it appears they were using a walking stick during their final moments when the blast hit. As a result of the bombing, an imprint of this unknown soul was left on the steps. This wasn't an isolated incident, as numerous shadows can still be found around the bombing sites, forever immortalizing those horrifying days.
That's terrifying too.
Number 3, the happy, creepy killer.
Look, if you're a serial killer, I have no idea who this guy is, but if you're a serial killer, you want to name like the DC Sniper, the BTK killer, the Son of Sam, whatever. You do not want to be known as the happy, creepy killer. Oh no! That's not how you want to go down. You gotta have, if you're gonna go down, you better have a cool nickname.
Without any background information, the wide-eyed kid in this picture probably wouldn't strike you as very threatening.
He strikes me as very threatening. Do you want to see this guy in your neighborhood? Probably not.
However, that innocent smile of his will quickly turn into a ghastly grin. This curly-haired 17-year-old is Jeffrey Franklin, who killed his parents and attacked his 3 siblings. Following a car chase, the authorities cornered Franklin at a dead end. The photo shows Franklin in the back of a police vehicle, not appearing especially distraught over the atrocities he's committed or his impending future behind bars. Claiming he felt like a, quote, evil being had taken over him, Franklin pled guilty and received 3 consecutive life sentences.
I don't blame anybody for the reactions to me because I feel that I justified most of them.
Number 2, Goodbye, John Lennon. We're all familiar with the music of John Lennon as well as his tragic fate. Photographer Paul Gorish couldn't have predicted it at the time, but this would reportedly be the last picture anyone took of Lennon. The image seems innocent enough as the former Beatle signs his autograph for an apparent admirer. Lennon's impending demise was creeping up in the photo's corner, however. The man standing next to him is none other than Mark David Chapman, the one responsible for Lennon.
Oh wow, that's pretty wild. So this is a photo of him signing the autograph, and then this guy in the photo is about to kill him? That's pretty nuts.
Untimely demise.
Hard to get to write at first. And then he wrote his name, John Lennon, and then underneath that, 1980. And he looked at me, as I mentioned earlier, he said, Is that all? Do you want anything else?
6 hours or so after this photo was taken, Lennon and Yoko Ono encountered Chapman again outside of their apartment building, the Dakota. With Lennon's back turned, Chapman drew his firearm, and the music world would never be the same again.
Why?
He said to me, you think you have what? And he said, Paul, are you sure that this is the man that you believe killed him? And I said, well, that's the man named Mark from Hawaii who was waiting out there all day with the album who got the autograph.
Before we unveil our top pick.
Dude, why did he kill him? Does anybody in chat know? That's kind of crazy, like, to get an auto. That's so weird.
Here are some honorable mentions. Haiku Stairs, Mystery Man in the background. Hiking Tragedy, the woman in the photograph survived, but her hiking friend didn't. His Master's Voice, logo was inspired by a dog that heard its late owner's voice on a recording.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and...
I'm trying to think what number one's going to be. So right now, I would say the creepiest one is... The creepiest one is probably, to me, right now, I feel like there was one that really creeped me out. Maybe it was the Jodi Arias one. Arias might be number one right now. That was pretty rough. Yeah, I guess Arias is number one. I wonder what number one's going to be. Let me think. Do I know? What's a creepy photo? I don't know. Maybe like a 9/11 photo or something. Yeah, I'm going to guess like a 9/11 photo.
And ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
John Wayne Gacy had like a bunch of like photos of him as a clown, which are really disturbing. But I'm gonna go with 9/11.
Number 1, Tyler Hadley and the Red Solo Cup.
Oh yeah, I do remember this. So I want to let me see if I remember this right. He's having a party. I think he had just killed like his parents or his roommate or something, or his girlfriend, and he like killed her upstairs or whoever upstairs, and came downstairs and this photo was taken.
Mere hours before raising his Red Solo Cup in this pic, 17-year-old Tyler Hadley hid his parents' cell phone and took 3 ecstasy pills. Hadley proceeded to end his mother's life with a hammer and then did the same to his father. After cleaning up the mess, Hadley shared on Facebook he was throwing a party that very night. At said party, Hadley told his best friend Michael Mandel all about his heinous actions.
After he told me, I didn't believe him because he's been my best friend forever. I would never suspect anything like this. And I was looking around. He told me if I look at enough, I can see signs. I looked on the floor, I could see signs of blood. And that's when I went around back and looked in his parents' bedroom.
Using his phone,
Dude, what?
Mandel subsequently took this picture with Hadley, knowing it would be the last time they ever saw each other. Leaving the party, Mandel hid the pills Hadley planned to commit suicide with and called Crime Stoppers. This led to Hadley's arrest and life sentence without parole.
Nearly 3 years.
Dude, that is so crazy. There's so many crazy parts of the story.
Mere hours before raising his Red Solo Cup in this pic, 17-year-old Tyler Hadley hid his parents' cell phone and took 3 ecstasy pills. Hadley proceeded to end his mother's life with a hammer and...
Like, can you imagine, right? Like, your friend tells you, hey, man, in this house, I killed my parents. And then you're like, okay, let me take a photo with this dude real quick. Bro, I'm running out of the back. I'm running out of the house. I'm not taking this photo. This dude just hammered his parents to death.
And then did the same to his father. After cleaning up the mess, Hadley shared on Facebook he was throwing a party that very night.
Dude, and then you talk about just like pure evil, like kills your parents with a hammer, and then you go on Facebook like, hey man, having a party at the house, guys, everyone come over. And then to tell your friend all about it, be like, hey man, just look around. Like, you talk about psychopath.
Party, Hadley told his best friend Michael Mandel all about his heinous actions.
After he told me, I didn't believe him because he's been my best friend forever. I would never suspect anything like this. And I was looking around. He told me if I look at enough, I can see signs. I looked on the floor, I could see signs of blood. And that's when I went around back and looked in his parents' bedroom.
Using his phone.
That's so wild.
Mandel subsequently took this picture with Hadley, knowing it would be the last time they ever saw each other. Leaving the party, Mandel hid the pills Hadley planned to commit suicide with and called Crime Stoppers. This led to Hadley's arrest and life sentence without parole.
Nearly 3 years of pain and worry now starting to slowly subside with the stroke of a gavel.
Do you agree with our picks?
Wow, that was pretty wild. Those are crazy. Crazy, dude.